Hello! Welcome! Oh, I'm so excited. I just made this romper and let me tell you, it is the most comfortable thing I've ever worn in my life. I don't think I'm ever gonna take it off. And the best part is, it has pockets. So I'm so excited. Keep watching to see how I did it. So I have been wanting to make a romper jumpsuit for a while, and when I went to Joann's recently, it's always Joann's, I found this pattern on sale for $4, which is a steal. So run to Joann's and get this pattern. It honestly is a great steal. It's pretty easy, and I seriously love how it came out. Check the back of your pattern to see how much fabric to get, how much bias tape and elastic you need. I will link all of the things that I got in the description below. Lay out all of your pattern pieces on your folded fabric just like you normally would. On the pattern in the instructions, it tells you exactly how to lay it out, how to fold it, how to situate everything, so it's really helpful. Make sure that your grain line is going the right direction. When you are sewing with knit, because it is really stretchy, you want to be stretching it the right amount. You want to stretch it like a teenth. So you can see I'm showing you the difference between not stretching it while you're sewing and stretching it while you're sewing. You want a little bit of give, but not so much that the fabric looks all like wrinkly like that. It's not a good look. So you want to stretch it just a teenth. So just like normal, you're gonna put right sides together. This is the bodice, and you're gonna sew down the back. Once you've sewn the back, you're gonna wanna put your shoulders together. So the front panels to your back panels along that shoulder seam, and do that for both sides. Make sure that you are stretching it a little bit and that you are back stitching at the front and the end of each piece. Once your front panels have been sewed to your back panels, you are going to want to take care of the front and neck edge. And the way that the pattern calls to do that is with double folded bias tape. So you can see I just am pinning it on to the beginning, and I'm going to sew that first fold. So line your needle up so that your seam is going to sit right inside that fold. And I didn't even pin it all along. I wanted to make sure that I could stretch it the right amount, go along. So just go really slow and get it in that fold as well as you can. The next step that you want to do is to layer the seam, or some people call it grading the seam. Basically, we're just gonna clip off that front fabric layer as close as you can get it without it being too close, so that when we fold it over, it's less bulky. I found that ironing at this point was very helpful. So set your iron at a low temperature so you don't burn your fabric, and iron it so that the knit and bias tape are pointing both at the same direction. They're both going up. At this point, we are going to understitch. So basically, we're stitching the seam allowance of our knit up to our bias tape so that they're stuck together, so that when we fold it over, they sit really nice. So you can see our work. It's looking pretty nice from the front. You don't see any seams. So fold it over one last time and do a nice top stitch. Make it as even as you can and line it up so that your bias tape is sitting really flat and not going to flip up when you are wearing it. Now we get to put the pieces together and sew the underarm seams of the front and the back bodice pieces. This part's exciting because now it's like an actual shirt that you could wear. It might look a little bit weird, but you could wear it. It's a shirt. It has sleeves and a neckline. So obviously I'm gonna put it on. You're crazy if you don't put it on at this point, seriously. I'm holding it wrapped around my waist, so that part needs to be sewn. So match up the little tag ear things on the front and just sew along the bottom so that the wrap is secured. The next step is to put it on again and twirl and enjoy it. Now we are going to finish off the sleeves. I think the pattern has you do it a different way, but I'm just gonna fold it over twice and call it a day. So fold it over a little bit, fold it over again, iron it, pin it, sew along so that it looks straight and nice and clean, and you've got a finished sleeve. Time for the pants. Pants throw me off. They look kind of weird. You'll see, they look weird. But pin along the inner leg, pin it real good, and then sew along right sides together. You know the drill. Right sides together, stretch just a little bit, and do that for both legs. Okay, time to put both pant legs together. I mean, do these look like pants to you? They just don't to me. It's like, it throws me off every time. It's like Inception. Pantception.
What?
Anyway, pin inside the inner leg seam, the left leg to the right leg, and sew along. Now for the pockets. We all love a good pocket. I mean, I know I do. Well, for it to be a good pocket, we want to make sure that they are at the same level and at the same height on both legs. So this pattern has provided these two little circles on the pockets and the legs. So you're just going to want to mark those circles with pins like I am and match them up. I found that the pocket just matches up with the top of the pant, so it was pretty easy. Pin it together and then just sew right along the edge of that pocket. You will repeat that step 4 times because you have a pocket front and a pocket back for both legs. The time has come to finally line it up and turn these into actual pants. So match up the outside seams, and we are going to sew along the pocket and the outer seam of the leg. Do that for both sides and just sew along. Make sure you go really slow around those pocket curves to make sure that they're really even, nice and smooth, and then do a pivot down the leg. And here we go, our very first pocket. Now we want to sew the top of the pocket and then down 2 inches from the top and then up 1 inch from the bottom so that it's a smaller hole for your hand so all your things don't fall out of your pockets. That would be no good. Alright guys, I don't have the elastic in, obviously, but I've got the top and I got the pants, and peep how long these are. I'm just short, but it's looking pretty good and it is so comfortable. Oh my gosh. But here we go. I like it. The glorious time has come to turn our shirt and pants into an actual jumpsuit. So make sure that you are lining up all of your seams, your front seam, your back seam, your side seams. You want to make sure that it is going on straight and that you don't have crooked shirts with your pants. I made sure to give myself a really generous seam allowance, and it's okay if when you put it on it looks a little baggy because we are going to put elastic in, so we need a little pocket for that. So use your little measuring tape and measure about a 1/4 inch from the raw edge. Go all the way around and leave about a 2-inch gap between that seam so that we can put in our elastic. I find it's easiest to attach a safety pin to the end of it so when you feed it through you have something to hold on to. I pulled it through one of the wrong holes. What did that even happen? Once you make it to the end, safety pin your 2 elastics together and go try it on. Make sure that you like how it's sitting, make sure it's tight enough, make sure it looks good. At this point, I wasn't super happy with the stretch of the elastic, or lack of stretch, I guess. So you don't have to do this, it's totally optional, but I put a second elastic through. I just felt like the stretch was a little bit weak and I just wanted it to feel a little bit more sturdy. Once you are happy with the stretchiness and how it sits on you and all that good stuff, go ahead and close that gap that you used to put in the elastic. Another good thing to do at this point is just go through and sew through the elastic in 2 to 4 spots along your waistline so that it doesn't like flip around and get all twisted. Ain't nobody have time for a twisted waistband elastic. Alright, next up are these hems. They're very long on me. So I think what I'm gonna do is just try pinning it up. I'm gonna fold it up and then fold it twice and then sew. Figuring out how much to take off your pant legs on yourself is a little bit tricky. I struggled a little bit with this part, but what I did was I just put my foot up onto a chair and kind of figured out how much I wanted to be shorter. So I wanted my hem to be 4 inches shorter. So I decided to cut 2 inches off so that I could fold it up 1 inch and then fold it up a second time another inch so that it would be a total of 4 inches shorter. Do your best to get your pants as smooth and even as you possibly can when you go to trim off the excess. So as you can see, I am just measuring and cutting off 2 inches off each of my pant legs. It's probably going to be a different amount for you. Now I am just figuring out how much to fold under. I went ahead and folded down 1 inch all along the leg hole and pinned that. And then once I went all the way through, I folded it down 1 more inch, basically just folded it down to where the edge was and pinned it again. It would be good to iron it at this point if you feel like that would be helpful, and then do that for your other leg as well. A good tip is just to pull on it from both ends like I am there, and just make sure that it's sitting evenly and not like puckering anywhere. Go ahead and just sew along the top of your fold. so that it looks straight and even and doesn't fold over when you're putting your pants on. Now, this step is kind of optional. The pattern calls you to just use like a cord around your waist, but I really wanted to do the tie kind of like they do for the dresses. So I got a little bit of extra fabric so that I could have enough to do that. So just go ahead and sew along the edge. As you can see, I'm kind of having problems with my machine. It's super normal. It happens to the best of us. I feel like if you didn't have to pick something out at least once in your project, did you really do a project? When you sew along the edge, do make sure that you leave like a 2-ish inch hole so that you have enough room to put the tie right side out. So just back stitch a little bit, skip a few inches, and then start again. Use the hole that you left for yourself to put the tie right side out. Make sure that it's super even, iron it if you feel it's necessary, and then you can either hand whip stitch that hole closed, or you can just do a teeny tiny little stitch like I do. That's what I like to do. And there you have it. Here is the bias tape edge, the cute little tie that I made. Oh, I just love this. It's so amazing. I hope you guys make it too. Thank you for watching. I hope you love watching, and I hope it inspires you to do something similar. Love you guys. See you next time.